Hi, this video is designed to help you set up your gradebook inside the Synergy TeacherVue system. So as far as the gradebook is concerned, there's a lot of customization options available to you. But in order to just get us going, we're going to use something called the Setup Stepper, which is designed to make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so we're going to go up here to Gradebook, and we're going to pick the fourth item down, Gradebook Setup. And then as far as the gradebook setup is concerned, you'll notice it's got a bunch of categories already provided to us. Those are the ones that are set up by the district. However, you have the right and the ability to add whatever categories make sense for your class. So for instance, let's say I'm a science teacher. I'm going to want to make sure I have a category for labs. So the way I'm going to add categories is to come over here to assignment types. And then I'm going to click on New. I'm going to type in the title that I want. This is just what order it will appear in your list. So I'm just going to put 6 because that's next. The due date, it's asking, do you want a specific due date or will you accept the work until the end of the quarter? So I operate by due dates. Let's assume you do too. And then we'll click for the color of the assignment, and you can make it any color you want. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with that, but bottom line, you just want a different color than what you're going to have for the other categories. Okay, and then to save this, we're going to just click Insert. So now you'll see these say district-wide categories, and then I have one that I've created. Now, let's say I create this, but I talk to the other teachers in my department, and they're not really using a separate grade category for that. I can delete this very easily by clicking delete and save up here. It's going to ask me to be sure that I want to delete it. I hit OK and it's gone. Okay. But bottom line, the district has provided you these categories. You do not have to use them all. I just wanted you to see how to add your own categories up front. So that way, when we go through the stepper, it's going to be simple clicks for you. So speaking of that stepper, let's go back to our gradebook setup, which is right here. And we're going to click this little gear that says the Setup Stepper. So it's going to give you the option to select all of your classes to set up all at once. That's only useful if you teach the same class all year across several sections. For a lot of us, that's just not the case. So you may want to go item by item and make sure that you're selecting really just those classes that you want to mirror each other and be ready at the same time. Okay, so for me, it actually does turn out to be the same for all of them. But for some of you who maybe have a half-year class that doesn't start until the third marking period, you're still going to see them populate here. You just don't need to set them up today unless you know that all of the weights and assignments and categories are going to be the same. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start a new setup. Now, in the future, let's say you are that teacher who's going to get a new set of kids in January or end of January, beginning of February for the second half of the year. You actually can pull from your existing grade books and mirror those if you would like. But for us right now in the beginning of the school year, nobody really has anything saved. So we're just going to start a new setup. As far as those categories are concerned, let's say you didn't add a category and now you're kind of wishing you had. You actually can add it here at this point in time. So you can press this. And again, it gives you that idea of a new type, the color, the due dates, either on or off, and then you hit create and suddenly your new category will show up, okay? In my department, we use homework, we use quizzes, we use classwork. We do not use projects, we use tests and assessments. So those are the district provided categories that my department's going to use this year, and we're gonna move on. Now, a lot of you have asked me questions about total points versus weights. You can customize this even after the setup stepper. You can go back in and tweak this as you would like. I just caution you to not make those kind of changes midway through the marking period because it's totally going to change the averages on your students. And keep in mind that with Synergy, the parents and the students both have portals. So they're going to see those slight shifts and ask questions. As far as total points are concerned, what this ultimately does is it sets all the weights in Synergy to 0 so that it really is just grading based upon the weight that you put in for each assignment in terms of points. My department uses percentages for their weights, so we're going to pick I use categories. Now, as I mentioned, my department has these 4 categories that we're using. And so our tests and assessments and essays are all 45%. Our classwork is 15%. Our quizzes are 30%. Our homework is 10%. And you see, it's keeping track for me exactly how much weight I've used. Okay. And now it's happy, because I've given it 100%. Again, this can be tweaked outside of the stepper. So if you need to make adjustments to this over the next couple of weeks, it's still possible to do. It should not be an issue for you. Or you can always make some adjustments at the end of the marking period before the next one. Now, this is an interesting question, whether or not you're going to sync to Google Classroom. There are some people who do not use Google Classroom. That is totally your right. You are not required to use it. The benefit to using Google Classroom with Synergy is that the grades get imported in real time. So if I'm grading stuff in Google Classroom, or I've set up a brain pop video in Google Classroom, and the kids are submitting their scores, those scores will populate inside my gradebook in Synergy without me having to take any extra steps. Okay. In addition, the rostering is synced. And so that's kind of helpful because, sometimes there are kids that are, move in the middle of the year, or we get kids added in the middle of the year. You don't have to take that extra step of, oh gosh, did I remember to invite that kid to Google Classroom? Synergy's already got your back and has that done for you. In addition, as we spend more time in the Synergy program, there are things that Paul and the folks at Hilburn can turn on for us. And one of those is a Synergy lesson bank that is standards aligned and populates into Google Classroom. So there's no guarantee that we'll have access to that this year, but it definitely is something interesting that the district may allow us to explore in the future. And if you have a Google Classroom that is linked to Synergy, it's going to be easier for you to adjust. As far as the sync is concerned, if you've not created your Google Classrooms for the year, you may want to pause here and set those up. There is a video that shows you how to do that if you need it. I have mine set up. Now, interestingly, it's asking for my classroom code. It says optional. And the reason it says optional is that Synergy will create Google Classrooms for you. I'm very picky about how I want my Google Classroom set up and what my settings look like. So I've already created and have mine. So I'm going to actually enter my class code. So that way I've got what I need linked to the classrooms I've already set up. And you'll notice I have 2 rosters because that's my ICT class. So I'm using the same code for those 2 rosters. I have the same situation with my ENL strands. So I'm sure you'll remember that at one point, eSchool was fragmented into those different rosters. And so you saw multiple class periods for one single class period, right? And this is kind of the same idea, right? And then I have one class that literally I have no co-teachers, I have no really special parameters on it. So it's got its own, okay? So now these class codes are in it can now find these Google Classrooms and work with Google to make sure that the students that are in my gradebook are the same students that are in my Google Classroom. Saves me that step of having to add students either through email invite or having the kids put in the class code. Now, this is the summary page. It's double checking things for me. It's telling me, hey, these are your categories. Remember these guys? These are your weights. This is what this is going to look like for you. Oh, I forgot to mention this category that says drops, that asks you if you're going to drop any classes any assignments during the course of the school year. I don't, you might. So if you want to toggle back, you absolutely can, and tell it to drop one of the lowest scores if you choose. But yeah, this looks pretty good to me. And it's got my Google Classrooms figured out. So I'm going to press the finish button. And now it's going to do its magic. Every time you log into the Synergy system, it's going to sync with Google Classroom. So that ultimately allows you some independence and freedom just in terms of saving time. Just so you know, not every assignment in Google Classroom needs to be graded. So if you're one of those people who's saying, I'd like to have them synced, but I don't want my kids to have their do nows graded or their, formative assessments graded, that's fine. Just don't grade them in Google Classroom. They will not populate into Synergy, okay? So now at this point, my gradebook is set up. As I'm back in the Synergy main screen, you'll see my weights have come over. This, if you forgot to drop the scores in the setup, you can drop them here. If you would like to allow class weighting to be set up by grade period, that's actually really great for those of you who teach multiple grades. Maybe you want to use weights for the classes that are a little bit older, but you want to use total points for the younger kids. You're welcome to do that, right? The other thing I wanted to show you is if you come over here to gradebook settings, this talks about rounding. So basically, eSchool rounded for us to the 10th decimal point. You may decide, nope, rounding is off. Nobody's rounding. Whatever they earn exact. You can decide that you do like rounding and you want to round to 2 decimal places. That's your prerogative. I'm just keeping it the way that eSchool had it for me. In addition, it's showing us that the district types of assignments are posted here. You can have it only show you your types of assignments, but our district defaulted to that for us. It also reminds us that we can inherit assignments from district gradebook, so that again has to do with the types of assignments. And then this is class notifications. Personally, I forget things. So having these notifications pop up, alert me when students are added, remind me to delegate new students, remind me when a custom report card is set up. I prefer to get those kind of notifications. And since Synergy has no specific email, all of those notifications are going to pop up when you log in, or if it's an email, it's going to be sent to your district Gmail address. So that's pretty much setting up your classroom gradebook in the Synergy Stepper. But keep in mind, as we go through the year, you can click around and explore. You'll see that there are places to kind of customize and tweak so that things do work better for you. So don't be afraid to click around and explore. Bottom line, you're ready. You've got the gradebook done, and that's a big part of the job. So if you have any questions about this video or anything else concerning Synergy, please let me know. We will be back at the October faculty meeting to talk to you about progress reports and final grades for the marking period so that you are all set for that as it arrives. Have a good one.